This is Mary Skipper, Superintendent of Boston. I will say proud Superintendent of the BPS. It's hard to believe it's been 100 days. In many ways, it's gone by incredibly fast. When I first became Superintendent, I was humbled to have the opportunity, excited for the opportunity, and just really enthusiastic for what I felt could happen here from the system that I had been a part of. And honestly, in the 100 days, just working and building the team that we've built, and in seeing the good work that's being done in our academic realm, in inclusion, with a lot of planning, deep thinking about how to make inclusion something that is going to transform our district, bilingual education, and giving our students better access and improved access to native language, looking at our student support foundation and all of the social emotional work that is happening around the district right now to make sure that our students have what they need to succeed, looking at our family engagement and all of the work that we're doing right now to reach out, to better our communication, to listen more closely to our families and what they want, to listen to our partners, and to find a way to build the village back here with our community partners, our nonprofits, our philanthropic, our post-secondary, our business community. I see so much of this work going on, and in my heart, I'm extremely optimistic that we are going to become that district where equity and education aren't just words, but they're actually the experience of our students. They're actually the experience of our staff and the experience of our families. If there's one consistency for me throughout my career, it's been putting students in the center of what we decide, how we approach policy, how we approach practice, how we make resource decisions. It has to be in service of our students. They are the BPS. And I think today's interview that you'll see with Jonathan Narsjo, who is a senior at the O'Brien, who was so kind to take time and to actually interview and have a conversation with me about my 100 days. We want to make sure that students are in each part of what we're doing. And at day's end, I think my success, BPS's success, will be in the outcomes for students, their experiences for Jonathan and for other students, the opportunities that they have for college and career as they leave the BPS, and potentially return to the BPS as a staff member, an educator, a social worker, a teacher, a principal, a superintendent one day. So I look forward over the years to come to having the opportunity to build on that vision. And right now, these 100 days have been a wonderful start. Thank you for all of your support as a community. I felt incredibly supported by the village of Boston, by the elected officials, by our school committee, and I'm really looking forward to what's coming beyond these 100 days.
I'm Ms. Skipper. I'm Jonathan, senior from O'Brien.
So nice to meet you.
So what are you proud of in your first 100 days?
Well, first of all, it's 100 days, which went by very quickly. I think the thing I'm most proud of right now is that we've built a really strong team. This is work that has to be done together, and so I'm proud of our deputy team that we've built, our chief team that we've built, our school leaders. They're just so committed to the work ahead. And I've said since the start that it was going to require really having a talented, diverse team to come in to BPS, who had a history with BPS, but who could add and inject energy, and I think we have that. So I'm confident in that team. I enjoy working with them very much, and so I think in my first 100 days that was sort of step one. I think step two is that we've put a lot of intentionality around calibrating the field, making sure that everybody's pointed in one direction, making sure that they're clear on our priorities. We established at the onset sort of a blueprint, which is around academic achievement. We established at the beginning, the 6 priority areas. Academics and equitable literacy, inclusion, bilingual education, social emotional supports for our students, school safety, which is always on the top of everyone's mind, family engagement and community engagement, really in an authentic way, strong communication and accountability. And we're really using that as our blueprint with the field. So everybody is pointed in that direction, and it takes some time for people to orient. I wanted to make sure that we weren't in a situation where everything was new and that some of the great work that had been done here was being lost. So it was really building on that foundation, and I think we've done that with the priority areas. And then lastly, I think we've made a lot of strides in student support. This has always been key to me as a principal, as a superintendent, as assistant superintendent. It starts and it ends with how we support our students. And so I think in our student support area, looking at things like our dropout, re-engaging students, chronic absenteeism, and talking to students about how important it is to be in school on a regular basis, and giving them the support they need to do so. Really at the high school level, looking at career pathways, and early college as strong opportunities for our students. And certainly at all levels, making sure we have strong student support teams in our schools. Our social workers are supported and activated in order to make sure that they're present for our families and for our students. Restorative justice practices, and we're about to bring in some peer mediation. These are all things that I think really help keep students in the center of what we do. And in the first 100 days, I'm proud that we've been able to lay that foundation.
For 2023, what is the biggest goal that you have as superintendent?
So, I think really it's a lot of systems work for us right now. We've transportation, special education, multilingual education, school safety. These are all key areas that impact all students. And so I think, for us, building a system where we're taking the recommendations of the Council of Great City Schools, who have come in and done a lot of work with our teams to identify areas that we can grow, really undoing or really establishing practices in the field that may be different than how we've done it before in BPS, but with students at the center and thinking about, from a systems perspective, how do these big chunks of transportation, special education, inclusion, bilingual education, school safety, how do we transform and do reform in those areas in a way that makes sense to the field, in a time frame, that makes sense to students, to parents, to staff, but gets at the results that we're looking for, which is better student outcomes. In the Green New Deal, it's really engaging the community and taking the opportunity to make sure that this unique opportunity of $2 billion injection into our system to build new buildings and to redo our buildings so that those buildings are able to support the academic programming we want all children to have, that we're engaging the community in a very real, authentic way for that to happen. These are the big pieces of work that to me are extremely exciting, and in 2023 we'll be continuing to lay foundation and making key changes so that those can happen.
It's wonderful. I hope to see that. So what do you think is one of your biggest challenges facing not just this school year, but school years moving on?
Yeah, so I think one thing that comes to mind of challenge is staffing. I think there's a national shortage and crisis right now with educators. In many ways, we need to inspire this next generation to want to teach like yourself, to want to make a key difference in young people's lives. And so there's going to need to be national work done on that. But here locally, I think, we've put a lot of efforts into recruitment. I think we need to also put those same kinds of intense support into things like retention and retaining the staff that we have, developing the staff we have, and giving them opportunities for advancement. The BPSI came up, through as an educator. That's what it was about. It was developing me from a teacher to a principal, to an assistant principal, assistant superintendent, and then to a superintendent. And had it not been that intentionality of development, I probably wouldn't have been here 20 years. But it was, and people took the effort, the system took the effort with me to develop me along the way, and it gave me promise and hope for advancement. And I think that's what we have to do with our current staff, is really, do that cycle of development, retention, and advancement well. And then additionally, we need to look at pipelines. So we need to look at our students and our graduates. We need to look at our parents. We need to look outside of the field and recruit as a place that BPS is the place you can come and you want to come to spend your talents and your energies, because this is the best system. And if you do that, we're going to invest in you. And so I think, really looking at pipeline development in each of those different groups of how to be able to inspire our students and our alumni to want to teach or to want to work in the BPS, or our parents who may want to be a paraprofessional, who may want to work in food service or may want to be a bus monitor, and give them access to those opportunities. Boston, this is a village. And what better way to support the BPS and our system than to engage the entire village in becoming part of BPS.
Thank you so much. And if you could make one promise to BPS students, what do you think it would be?
So I think, that this has held true for me for my entire career. When I was a teacher, when I was a principal, when I was an assistant superintendent here in Boston, and certainly now a superintendent. And that is that you are the center of decision making for me. Everything that comes to me, whether it's a policy, whether it's a practice recommendation, whatever decision point, I keep students at the center and think, what would be the best for you? What is going to have, equity in education happening for you that's going to increase your ability to have the most positive outcome? And I work very hard, and I will work really hard to do that, and to remind everyone around me that, as in my leadership team and in the staff that works to support our district, that this begins and ends with our students. And so that is my promise to you, that all of my decisions and all of my thinking will be with you in the center and having the best possible outcomes for you. I want BPS to be a place where it doesn't matter what part of the city you live in or you come from. It doesn't matter what language you speak, what race you are, what gender you are. This is a place that you will succeed, that you are going to get every opportunity to do so. And that's a commitment I take to heart. It's the reason I took the job. And it's the thing that drives me in this job, to make sure that is the truth in the experience for our students.
So think back to your first day on your role. How did you feel?
Wow, I remember the night that it became official, and I remember just feeling so many different emotions. I was nervous, I was excited, I was just overwhelmed with the responsibility that I was taking, because I feel it so much in my heart that my job is about making sure you have the future that you want to have. And so I remember having so many of those different emotions with my family. And then as I began kind of the first day, I was nervous. What had changed in 7 years? It's been 7 years since I had been here, and what had changed? Who had changed? How would I be received? What would the team be like that we would create? There were so many unknowns, and so I was nervous, anxious, excited, and now I look at it and I think back over the 100 days, and now seeing the team that we built, seeing the work, like the great foundational work that's happening and getting laid, that's going to make those systems all come to bear and to work. Seeing people's passion. Every day somebody calls and says, hey, I want to come back and work in BPS. That's the system that was here before, that I just loved. And so I feel so hopeful. I feel energized. I feel really optimistic about your future and about the future of all of the students that are going to come up through BPS, because you have a whole team that's working for you as students. And so that I think for me, over 100 days, is how my emotions evolved. I still get nervous, and that's a good thing, because when something's really important, you should get nervous. But I feel confident in the people that are working to make the difference in this system, and I know that we're going to get there. We're going to make sure that equity in education is a reality in this district, not just words.
Thank you.
You're welcome.